Yep.
And we are live. We are live. Hey, Trent, I appreciate the like. How you doing? Hey, right on time, man. Happy Tech Tuesday. Thank you for coming by. Thank everybody that's gonna be here or join in later and all that in between. I have a very special guest. We've have been in mutual circles, but like haven't really had the pleasure of formally meeting, which is weird because we virtually meeting, although in the
Yeah.
same city. But no, I'm very excited to have her on. I'm very much so a fan and I'm motivated by the work that she does. I'm gonna let her introduce herself. Then I have a few questions. Chat, if y'all have a few questions, y'all feel free to chime in. But without further ado, I'm just handing you the mic for a second.
Yeah. Everyone, my name is Naisha White, and I wear a couple hats. One, I'm the founder of Birmingham Black Techies, a local Black tech organization. I'm also the founder of Black Tech Takeover, which debuted as a virtual conference February earlier this year. And I also work as a product design lead at Ed Farm, which is a nonprofit organization in Birmingham. And it's education tech based startup.
Okay, so that was a lot. So we're gonna let's go into a little bit of that at a time. I told y'all I was excited, but so what got you into tech? What how long have you been working in the tech industry? Kind of what got you into it? Let's kind of walk us through that.
Yeah, so I first like got my first official role in technology in 2016, and I started out as a intern, and I was actually doing like totally different work than what I'm doing now. I was doing a lot of database work.
Oh,
I was working for a manufacturing company, and I worked in the HRIS systems. So there are a lot of like older systems doing a lot of like Oracle, a lot of SQL, and that kind of work. And that's how I got started in 2016. And now I'm a product designer, so it's um, totally different. But yeah, that was my start. Was doing a lot of SQL and stuff in database.
what would you say led you to get the product design and kind of talk us through that? Like what inspired you to keep going and level up and get where you are now?
Yeah, so I'll say I always had a hope of doing something more creative on the technology side. So like I was one of those people in college, I just didn't really know what I wanted to do. And before I settled on computer science, I was a graphic design major.
Nice.
So I always had kind of like I wanted to get back into the more creative side, but I was like, I just wasn't honestly really sure how to get into it without going through graphic design because I knew I didn't want to do graphic design. And at that time, I didn't know what UX design was. So I went the front end web development route. And once I started finding out about UX, I learned what it meant. And I was like, okay, like this is actually what I want to do. And so I started working on a portfolio, and that led me to my job now as a product designer.
So when you were working on your portfolio, were you already employed?
hmm Yep,
Okay.
I was a front end web developer at that
At
time, and
at
so
what
yep, so I kind of started like outside on it.
would you say that I guess I'm trying to ask like, what advice would you give somebody that's trying to get into either field of the programming you on, either on the database or the front end experience? What advice would you give them stepping out if they're in the field right now that's not tech based? Like, how would you what would you tell them?
My first advice would be open to whatever your starting position is, because at first, like, I mean, I knew nothing about database or SQL, but I was just like, I mean, I just want to get my foot in the door, and I think that's real important. Like, no matter what you think you want to end up doing, just get your foot in.
Yeah.
Especially if you're working at a larger company, it's pretty like easy once you're in there to move around a lot easier. So just get in somewhere is my advice.
I like that. That's very true. Okay. So you start moving up. At what point do you start forming these organizations and deciding that you want to make an impact? That's something like bigger than just like your job that you do from day to day. What
Yeah.
inspired that?
I officially started Birmingham Black Techies in November of 2019. What made me want to start that was one, I'm a Birmingham transplant. I moved to Birmingham about 6 years ago, and I just always found it really, really hard to meet other Black people who were in technology. And I really did want to meet specifically other Black people who are involved in tech because I mean, outside of work, I like technology. Like, I like computers and video
Yeah.
games. I like doing stuff with technology. So I went to Meetup to try to find some groups, and unfortunately, most of them, it's like I would look at people who are attending, and it was like never hardly any Black people, and so I'm like, oh gosh, this sucks. So, so then I'm like, well, I guess I'll just have to start the meetup group myself. And I honestly was really hesitant, and it took me a long time. Like, I had been thought about it, but it took me a really long time to actually act on it, just because I was just like, it's gonna be a lot of responsibility, and then also I'm an introverted person. I mean, I probably would be like a typical developer. Like, I mean, I was like, I don't want to do this, but yeah, but I decided to just go ahead and jump and just try it because I'm like, well, it's no use of just like complaining about something without trying something. So I
That's
decided
fair.
to try, and that's how it got started. How Birmingham Black Techies got started.
Okay, and what about the Black Tech Takeover? Tell how did that evolve? And
Yeah, so Black Tech Takeover actually started because it started, I remember, as there's a Slack channel. So first I'll say Birmingham Black Techies and Black Tech Takeover are two separate things. And I think a lot of times people may not really realize it, but it started off though as like a, a virtual conference for Birmingham Black Techies,
mm-hmm.
and then like in the middle of like planning it, I had already had the domain Black Tech Takeover. And so I was just like, okay, so I got this thing we're planning for Birmingham Black Techies, but then I've been had this domain that I've been wanting to use. I'm like, oh, this would be perfect. And so that's kind of how like the name got attached to it.
Okay.
It was just like the perfect time, and I was just been like waiting on a chance to use it. So that's what that is. But yeah, now I'm Black Tech Takeover. Um, actually, my goal is to make it more of its own separate thing, and yeah, that's what I'm currently working on.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, my the toxic guy said I love Tech Tuesdays. Hey, thank you, bro. Thank you for coming here. I love you too. I look so I look forward to Tech Tuesdays every week. Thank you, man. I do appreciate you stopping by. Um, that's one of my friends. He's being funny.
So
Not really, but anywho. So what in what aspect are you trying to make that are you making it different though? I'm just curious myself. Like how what's the goal for that?
yeah, so Black Tech Takeover was introduced as a conference. And
Yeah.
my goal is for Black Tech Takeover to be something that just exists like beyond once a year. And so
Okay.
that's something that I'm currently brainstorming and thinking through. Just something
Nice.
that is more year long. Because I'll say, like, with Birmingham Black Techies, the organization, like, I love that it isn't something that just comes, once a
Yeah.
year or twice a year. It exists, and it allows you to really connect with people.
I like that. What would you say? How? Or let me ask this: how important would you say networking? It's a cliche question, but just to get you to some conversation, how would you? How important has networking been in like your journey in your career? Like being able to have these conversations with other people. I know you're an introvert, but you be out here. You network, you do your thing as well. So talk about. Will you speak to that?
Yeah, networking is so important. I mean, pretty much, I feel like any freelance or contract job I've done, like, has been through networking, like anything like that. Like, networking is really important. And I will say, if a person is like me and not really super extroverted, I love networking online, on LinkedIn, Twitter, Black Tech Twitter. Like, it's
Yeah.
a great place. Like, just using the internet to meet people has been real helpful. There's even a Facebook group, Black Sisters, Black Women in Tech.
Okay.
So, yeah, just a lot of like networking virtually for me has been really helpful, especially when people were like glued to their computers when COVID first hit. That was like, oh yeah, I made a lot of good connections then.
Nice. Yeah. Cool. You got any words of wisdom you want to share?
I would say, words of wisdom. I'll say, my words of wisdom for people who aren't in technology is that it is like there are so many different things you can do in tech outside of coding and design. And like it's just so much. I'm always telling people like you think there ain't a role for you in tech. There is. There are
I
roles
agree.
for
And
everybody.
what's cool about it is, like you said, you've kind of taken your love for design and infused it with tech. Like I'm on the cybersecurity side, and it's like two whole different sides of well, more than two sides to a coin, different sides for something else with a lot of sides. Anywho, um, but it's just going at to say like no matter what your passion is, you can find a way to tie that into tech and make a living with it. And that's what I think is so cool about it. So, um,
Yep.
what what are your next big I mean yeah, big gatherings or projects you have coming up with Birmingham Black Techies?
Yeah, so Birmingham Black Tech is, I'll say, stay tuned. So next year, January of 2022 would be like 2 years since we had our first
Hey,
in-person meetup. So expect something then, definitely doing something to celebrate. Next year, expect more stuff in person because
we back
able
outside
to
now.
be able to have expect more things to be happening in person for Birmingham Black Techies, and also a lot. Also heavily looking for more people to be involved with helping me organize and plan things. So all that's coming. Yeah. So next year I think will be a really big year for Birmingham Black Techies.
Hey,
I'm really excited.
we calling it now. Okay,
Oh yeah.
I'm here for it. And I definitely, cause I was last year, these past few years with all the pandemic stuff, I have been hesitant to go. Like, I don't know,
Mhm.
I went places here and there, but just it's been if it's been somewhere I hadn't been before, and it's a new space, and I've been more hesitant to go. But that is kind of starting to fade away with things opening back up more regular. So I'm excited for you to start having some more events, so I can start showing my face for real.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta come out. You gotta come
Yeah.
out so we can actually meet in person.
I know, right? That's crazy. Who is that? Tristan with the like. Hey, Tristan, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for coming by. All right. So, trying to think. Chat, y'all got anything? How y'all doing tonight? But so where all can people find you and find your stuff? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so pretty much I got the same username on Instagram and Twitter. It's Nah the Techie, NITHEETECHIE. Of course, that's a tribute to Meg the Stallion. She's my fellow American. So it's
Hey,
Nah the Techie.
I
You can
like it.
find yes,
I
it's
like it a
on
lot.
Instagram and also on Twitter. You can find me on LinkedIn, Naisha White. My name is spelled Niesha, and White like the color WHITE. Those are good places to find me. Yeah, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter.
So Ed Farm, for people who don't know what Ed Farm is, let's talk about Ed Farm a little bit.
Yeah, Ed Farm is one of those names that I hope soon like everyone in the Birmingham area and definitely Alabama start to become more familiar with because we have a lot of instead of like just telling you like exactly what Ed Farm is, I want to tell people exactly like the programs they need to tune into, which is one pathways. We have some free courses where we teach people about Swift, which is a language, iOS coding language, and you don't have to have coding experience to start. So it's a really good way for people to get an introduction into building a mobile app.
Nice.
And the really cool thing about it, and what I love the most, is you don't have to worry about having an Apple device. They will provide it for
Wow.
people if they, yes. So go, you can find out more at edform.org. But yeah, we have lots of really good programs for adults and children who want to learn about code. And we do a lot of work with teachers as well who are wanting to become Apple certified and
Nice.
learn how to incorporate technology more in their classrooms. And the next thing you'll start seeing from Ed Forums, we want to start releasing external products. The main thing we've been working on is a mobile app, and it's called The Movement.
Okay.
And if you go to Ed Farms Instagram, they've started posting a little bit about it, but the movement is gonna be a mobile app that features stories about a lot of activists and foot soldiers from Birmingham. And these are people who, like, you don't really hear about as much, but you should be hearing about and should know what
Wow.
they're doing. And what makes it really cool is these stories will be told by Gen Z students. They're doing some of the filming and writing and interviewing people, and like there also will be AR incorporated in the app. So it's just gonna be a really cool product, and I'm
Okay.
excited to see that come out.
Man, I'm here for it. When y'all, we're gonna have to get you back on here when y'all get ready to lunch so we can talk
Oh
about
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, what you? I know you said your product design. How do you fit in? What do you do specifically at Farm? Do you teach some of the courses, or you like what do you do there?
And so mostly so I've done a little bit of everything. We've had so a lot of my teaching has happened with we had interns and our mentees, and we've done like some UX and design workshops and stuff with them to teach them about wireframing, building. They built out their own app prototype, and then they demoed them to for Birmingham Promise. They did really good jobs with. So we've done
Wow.
that type of stuff, but also I designed um, our the mobile app and web applications that we're working on, and any other things really that they need me to work on. But yeah, I'm primarily working on two products. One is the Movement mobile app, and the other is EdForm Learn, which is going to be a web application for teachers.
Okay. I'm like, man, that's super dope. Okay, I'm excited. Well, congratulations to you. I wish you so much success. I appreciate you for stopping by. We'll definitely have to get you back and go into because I
Yeah.
wanna like my whole goal with starting this was kind of just to bring a side of tech to people that's just laid back, that's not over. If you're not in tech, then it's not something that's just, oh, I don't even know what they're talking about, but kind of still be tech based and let people know what's going on because, my main goal is to get somebody involved. Like, even if, I don't know, if somebody watches video
Yeah.
5 years, like, I wouldn't get. This isn't something that I grew up around. I didn't get your take on that either. I'm sorry. So before college, like, were you surrounded? Like, did you grow up around a lot of tech, and you just
No, I don't. So I always like playing video games and stuff, but I always tell people I never even considered a career in technology. Like
mm,
I was until I was like maybe like 24.
yeah.
That maybe was the first time I ever even thought about it.
That's
So
interesting. So you get them. So like, it's so many people that go this non-traditional route like this, and but those aren't stories that people hear about. They just think that you're just a genius, and you are very intelligent. Don't get me wrong, but you know what I mean. People think that what we
yeah,
do is rocket science. So this show is just kind of
I,
it's thank you to just break down the barriers of some of that. Show them that we are everyday people, that we do laugh and have emotions. We're not robots. So
mhm.
again, thank you for coming on. We will definitely what we'll do is we'll talk off channel, get some schedule some time, and I'd love to have you back on whenever you get ready to throw something big or anytime if you want to. But hey, Chad, thank y'all for coming through. We are gonna wind on down. I think I'll be back this weekend actually streaming a little bit. So I'll see y'all. Much love. Thank y'all again, and the video will be on YouTube in the morning. Y'all have